You're listening to the Known Legacy Podcast, brought to you by Known Legacy Ministries. For more information, go to knownlegacy.org. Now here's your hosts, Bill and Travis.
I think I need to move my camera a little bit.
I think you do. Hi, Bill. How
I'm
are
moving
you doing?
it. What just? There it is.
We're gonna have to fire the camera tech.
It's me. It's me. Like, what is it? It's like on Star Wars. He's like, I know him. He's me.
Yeah.
I'm the idiot with the camera.
How are you doing, Bill?
I'm good, man. Things are good. I've got allergies now because it's beautiful fall. Actually, I've had allergies every season.
Yeah.
And so we're good. But no, we're super excited because it's finally fall. It feels like fall. I woke up today and it was like 64.
It was nice.
I was like, I wanted it to be 55, but it's 64.
And as much as I want to turn the AC off, you still can't because it gets to 89, 90 degrees every day.
Yeah. But it doesn't run when it's low.
No.
Exactly.
That's
it
true.
just kind of does
That's
its
true.
thing.
That's Kyle. So howdy, Kyle.
How you doing, man?
Good morning. How you guys?
There you are. Let's get you
I'm
on
here.
the camera with that beautiful face. We love it.
Hey, as always, thank you guys for checking out the No Legacy podcast. We're excited that you're here. Man, we really do appreciate you guys checking in and listening to what we got. We got a special guest today. I'm really excited about interviewing this individual. And as always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, go to info@knownlegacy.org. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Go to the website, man. If you know, end of year, you got some stocks that haven't completely tanked like everything else, or you just want to make a donation and help make this happen on a regular basis. Season 5 is well underway. Go to the website, knownlegacy.org, and you can make a donation. You can make a comment. You can do whatever you want. And we're just happy that you're here.
Free. It's free fun.
It is free.
Fun
it is
for
free.
all.
And I know the last few weeks we've been promoting the Long Shot Ministry, and we're back from the Long Shot Ministry retreat, and it was good. Yeah.
There it is.
By the way, that is a law in Texas. I don't know if you know that. That is an absolute law in Texas that when you enter the town of LaGrange,
You play this song.
you have to have ZZ Top playing LaGrange in the
Oh,
background.
dear goodness. That was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely need to have that playing.
Every time we've gone down, we've played that, and I think we've played it through the whole thing. And then I think all weekend we're like, like it's just that weird. And so, even though the song is a little seedy, as you could say,
It's about a house for the ladies that the boys visit.
What was the movie you guys?
Like a
That's
sorority
a little
house.
whorehouse in Texas. That's
what
the
it was.
movie.
That's the movie.
We were trying
Dolly
to not
Parton was
share
in it,
any
right?
of those words, but now that you've called it
Well,
out, Dolly Parton's
but
in
it was a movie. I mean,
It
it
was.
wasn't like we're like saying. Well, I guess we're saying the words, but we're not like. It was just a movie. Anyways, it's been great having you guys on here now. This is our last podcast.
And thank you for being there. So fantastic. Anyways, onto the interview. So today we're going to interview an author who, shockingly enough, was actually a #1 Amazon bestseller for a few hours.
Yeah,
which was
that's all
really
you need.
exciting.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Claiming that one. So, Bill, welcome to the show.
This is so random. I'm so. It's a pleasure being here today. Thanks, Bob. Pleasure being here. So.
I would like to thank Kyle for doing what he does, and I'd say he needs a promotion.
I think he does. He does amazing.
Yeah.
If you just double my current pay, I'd be happy.
Okay, good. Wait, done.
You know what? I feel generous. We're going to triple it.
Oh,
Okay.
nice. Thank you.
Triple it.
It's 3 crowns in heaven instead of 0. And so,
No, anyways, Bill, congratulations on getting the book
Thank you.
launched. Having worked on a project recently for myself, it is an absolute beatdown. And the last few months, getting to the finish line is exhausting. So just tell us, man, give us an update. What's the last week been like? How was the book launch? What were some of the experiences there? And who were some of the guys that you met?
It's been so fun. So just to give you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes. So, the calendar matches. This is fun. 17.
It's high tech.
It's high tech. There it is. More than you. That's awesome. So the calendar matches 17 years ago. And the reason that's interesting is, so I was going to launch this actually October 4th. And or October 3rd, I think it was, the Monday, October 3rd. And I'd had it all set up, and I was going to do like a pre-release and all this kind of stuff. And I get this email that says, your book is now, it's on Amazon. I was like, oh no, what did I do wrong? Which it's funny because writing and then getting it on Amazon are two different things. Like, and you're trying to get it launched is like, it's a new world of like, how do you do this?
Right.
So I'm launching this, and I'm going to come back to the 17-year thing, but I'm launching it, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I was going to launch it this next, the Monday, October 3rd, get it all ready, go from that. And then I was like, well, what's the week? I said, I'm already in this 1 week. Let me just go back and see what that like Monday is. Well, 17 years ago, the calendar matches the same time that me and Sarah and Gabe, who was 2 months old, left New York. And so when I looked at the calendar, we had left on a Monday.
Yeah.
On the 26th.
Yeah.
And the book launched 17 years later on a Monday, the 26th of September.
Wow.
So we're like, so is that kind of like, and then we did the book release party the 29th, which is the day that we actually pulled into Midland, Texas. So we didn't like mean any of that. We're like, let's just do this and this. And so I was like, huh. All right, Lord, that's kind of cool,
Yeah.
like, which, I mean, may not mean anything to anybody else, but that validating factor of, I'm going to have fun with this, Bill. My timing is perfect, and I'm just going to launch it that day.
Yeah.
And so it was really, really cool because then that day, I launch it about essentially 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I'm not even going to look. And, I mean, I wasn't really ever worried about, like Amazon ratings and all that kind of stuff. It was in the back of your head. That'd be cool. But, I think we've talked about this. Like, I was like, hey, guys, when I launch this, I don't care if 11 people read the book and they come alive to it.
Well, that's your 10 friends and your mom. So congratulations. You got 11.
I have 10 friends? I didn't realize I even had 10.
I pay for 10 of your friends. I hope you have 10 friends.
But but when I looked at it, like, so that it was started like 264. And then I looked at it at 11:30 that morning. It was like number 8. And I was like, number 8? I go, wait a minute. So I was like, I get on my phone. I'm like, hey, guys, can you if you can help me out, And so I was like, and then next thing you know, that night we're at a band performance for Gabe, and I look it up, and I'm holding my phone, and I'm like, and I show it to Sarah, and Sarah's like, wow, that's number 1 in new releases and number 2 in bestsellers. In one of the charts. I mean, there's all these charts.
Yeah, and that's not like overall every single book in Amazon.
No.
Though that would be an amazing, awesome, miraculous thing. This is like specifically towards the subcategory that you threw out there, which it has a ton of books in there. It's not like you created one.
It wasn't like I made like Bill's favorites number 1. It was like Christian men living or something like that, and I was like, that's cool. And so then I kept going, and I looked at it, and then so it said number 1 in new releases, and then number 2 in there, and then this little flag pops up. It's like number 1 new release, and I'm like, Sarah, check that, and I look at her, and I'm like, oh, nice.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. And I was like,
we're waiting to hear what Sarah said.
And then Sarah said, and
knuckle.
And Sarah goes, are you crying? I'm like, no. It's a little bit teary, and then so it was really, really fun. And then the next morning I woke up and I was like, I'm just gonna check it again, and it actually hit number 1 in bestsellers. So I'm like, screenshot number 1. We're good. And So it was really a cool thing because now it's like back down because we haven't pushed it or talked about it. But it was interesting because just the idea that like that many people came by to support it. And then all of my 1-year goals were met in 3 days.
Wow.
So we're like, so praise the Lord. It's really cool. And so just a lot of fun. So thank you if you bought one. Super grateful to you guys taking the time to purchase one of these books because it meant a lot to me. And then from there, we just kind of like, okay, what happens? And we've been getting some cool response and comments and texts and emails and posts and things like that. And so we're super excited about that. But yeah, so it's been a fun journey this first week.
I'm waiting for the audio version to come out.
And, I'm hoping soon.
So if you could get your best Barry White voice and just record that for me.
Exactly.
So I can, like, today had more than you.
Exactly.
It'd be fantastic. So anyways, Kyle and I, we figured we would be the ones that interview you today about your book.
Thank you.
It's a lot of the stuff that we talk about on the podcast that we've talked about for the last 5 years. But I wanted to give you a chance to just kind of share, like, let's be honest. I think the stat is like 80% of Americans don't read a book.
No.
Post high school, which is stupid. If you're one of those guys, pick up a book, man.
Yeah.
Pick up a nonfiction, pick up a fiction, pick up something. Man, there's so much wisdom in books. But so 20% of the American population is reading books. I would say probably a majority of those are women. And so why would you write a book for guys when you know, like, that's the demographic battle that you have?
I know it's like, why did I do that? It's like, making, chocolate dipped onions. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I do that? And so, but it's crazy because
hey, don't knock it till you try
exactly,
it. Exactly
right. But there was this whole thing where I remember hearing. I'd been praying through this for a couple of years, and a long time ago, someone said, "Bill, you are the same person you are today, a year from now, except for the books you read and the people that you meet." And then I realized as I started, like, okay, I'll start reading books.
Say that again, because that's huge.
You are the same person you are today, a year from now, except for the books you read and the people that you meet. And in reality, when you start looking at these books and you're like, all this is somebody's heart. So you're essentially meeting somebody else, but you're hearing their heart in written word. And so the idea of, like, I had to press through, because I'm not super reader either. I mean, I have friends who are like, man, I read it in one sitting and it's awesome. I'm like, am I that stupid that you're no? But they're like, no, it was good. We read through it and it was easy read. It flowed through and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, the idea of building that muscle to read was so important. And so whether it's an audiobook, whether it's a paperback, but the idea of stopping to let somebody speak in, it's like, grab a cup of coffee and let someone just talk to you.
Right.
And so then you get the opportunity to, like, C.S. Lewis, to if I want, I wish I could sit down with C.S. Lewis. I'm like, honestly, after writing one, you're like, you do get to sit down with C.S. Lewis and actually hear his heart of what he believes. And you're like, but I never looked at it that way.
So let me ask, you've said it a few times now, this book represents your heart. So if you had to summarize your heart in this book, how would you summarize that? Let's say a guy's like, man, I don't need to buy another book that sits on the bookshelf and not read, but please buy the book. Bill does have kids, about to go to college, so he's looking at a big windfall from this one.
Exactly.
All 20 cents per copy.
Exactly, whatever it is. Yeah.
Again, donations at info.
Exactly.
No, but what's your heart in the book? Why?
So men are bored. We just saw a bunch of bored men. And I know that you're in ministry too, Kyle. You've had these conversations with guys who are just like, man, I'm just struggling with sin. And I don't know what to do, and they're inside the church and they're bored out of their mind. They're like,
so they're obsessed with fighting against something, sin, rather than fighting for something in our culture, in our world, in our families and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like, don't touch the wet paint. And I think more people come out of church on a Sunday going, okay, I'm going to try and do better. And I'm like, that's not really what God calls us to. In fact, that's not what God calls us to. John 10 came to give us life and life abundantly. So it isn't like, there isn't anywhere in that, like, it came to give us a life that we don't touch the wet paint, that we learn not to do things. Again, I go back to the mater thing when it's like, what I tell you about that mater is like, to not to. And you're like, that's not our life goal, is to not to. It's to come alive to the calling that God's put in our hearts. And that's where it was like, I got to write this, because as we're having these conversations for all these years, and you're over and over again, and you hear the same conversation, like, there are books out there that talk about these things. There are books that have changed my life that are this, but I just didn't see one that was the compilation of the story that I wanted to share with guys over a cup of coffee or over a pint of beer, and say, listen, if you just understood that God's word is true, if you understood that God was for you, and if you understood who you were, then we can have this conversation about becoming who you're designed to become. And that's it. And it's just a practical walkthrough of just, how do I do it now? Because some books are like, man, you're made for more, and that's awesome. What do I do with it?
Right.
And I wanted to do something that was like, you're made for more, but also here's the dream, but then also not the idea of like, because there is like, there is books that talk about, oh, you can have it all now. And I'm like, that's not really what we're talking about. It's like, You're made to strive to do more. And when I mean striving, I'm not talking about like, but wrestling through the truth of who God is and going, I have this desire and dream in my heart, but what do I do with it? And how do I get to where God is calling me to? And so really, it's nothing new. It's discipleship. It's pursuing the heart of God. It's going, do I really believe that his word is true? And walking through those awkward moments and those suck phases in your life. There is a chapter actually called, let me look at it. Let me try and get the chapter titles. There's literally a chapter called God's timing in the suck phase. And it's just because I've had so many guys like, it just sucks right now, and journeying through, and you're like, it's hard, but we want to put up this front like it's got to be all good. And so, and even now, like I was scrolling through social media today to get encouraged, and so, but no, I was scrolling through social media, and I saw this post of a church that was like, it was nice, but it was like, what it presented to me, and I'm not going to even talk about the church. I'm not here to rip apart churches, but like, it was like, all the beautiful people may enter, and you're like, more of us aren't beautiful. if that makes sense. Like,
none of us are truly beautiful.
Exactly.
I mean, we know.
Yeah, but you get into this thing where it's like, okay, so I guess I have to look, act, and talk like you.
Right.
And I have to be super skinny, and I have to, the suit looks nice and the hair is perfect. And I'm like, we are literally not supposed to be Ned Flanders. Like, we are supposed to be broken. Like, this idea of, I was reading through Matthew 5 today, and it was just the Beatitudes, and none of them are good. Blessed are the beautiful people. No. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are those who are the peacekeepers.
It's all these attributes of brokenness.
Yeah.
And all these attributes of the suck.
Yeah, and you're like, so we come at it and go, okay, so I have to have it together. I have to try and do better this week. No, I have to leave everything at the feet of Jesus and try to walk on water. When Peter stepped out of the boat, he wasn't even invited. God was just like out there. I could imagine the awkward moment of like, so I'm here and the guys are in the boat. He's like, and then Peter's like, can I come out? And he's like, yeah, water's great. Come on out. And so then he walks out, and it's like, in this idea of we're waiting for the writing in the sky,
right?
For God to be like, you're supposed to do this, and it's like, it's not really going to be there. So we try to help people mine through what's in their heart to go, okay, I'm going to dig this apart, and I'm going to go, this is what's on my heart. What are you saying in all this, God? But I wanted to see us walk through that and go, okay, I'm made from it, but then also it's not just so that I'm fulfilled. It's so that everybody after me understands who God is. Years ago, even when we started Known Legacy, and I'm probably circling through everything we've talked about before, but I'll just share the heart of this is there was a lady who came to our house a long time ago, and Sarah was filling in for this game called Bunko. You guys probably know what Bunko is.
No, but my wife does.
Okay, so she was like a fill-in, and they were like, hey, you're filling in, and can we have it at your house? She's
That's
like,
convenient.
Sure, no problem. And so she goes in. Well, that day, there was a lady who was 40. She's 40 years old, and she was fighting terminal cancer.
Ooh.
And I was wrestling in this already in my heart of like starting Known Legacy, and I know that there's more for me than it just existing. But I was in what would be a fulfilling role at a church, but I just wasn't feeling like fulfilled. I wasn't like, okay, there's more. There was this itch in me. And she walked in, and I didn't even ever talk to her, but I remember going, I wish I could interview you. I didn't know her enough to interview her, but to say, what would you tell everybody who's 40 right now to focus on? You knowing you have 6 months to live or 3 months to live. And I didn't ever do, but it made me process, what would I say?
Right.
And then about a year later, a friend of mine, his son committed suicide. And man, his parents loved him. They were great people. They loved him, but he struggled with some stuff, and I remember going up to the hospital to pray over him, and I remember we prayed, and man, he started kind of doing this kind of convulsed thing where tears were running down his face, and he was out of it. I mean, he had tubes and wires and everything like that. But I remember in that moment of praying over him that I saw those tears, and I was like, it felt like God was like speaking into my heart and saying, Bill, he's telling you that this is the worst decision that he made.
Right.
And at the same time, God was like, Bill, he forgot that one day he was going to be a grandfather. And everything he did right now impacted everything that came after him. And I was like, I got to tell people.
Right.
And not that I was enlightened to something new, but I was like, I need to live knowing that everything I do now affects my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. And so even in the midst of these dreams, it's like we have this dream, but it's not even about us. It's that the world would know, because here's the thing, guys. I truly believe there's going to be a third great awakening in our society, but I don't think it's going to be the Billy Graham crusade. I'm not going to cast that it can't happen that way, but I just think it's going to happen over cups of coffee and over pints of beer. And when they see, like, I'm around both you guys all the time. You guys are energy makers, and there's a life that people are like, I want what you have. I want what you have. I want what you have to offer. And there's something that is enough for us to go, we have the only hope in the world. And in the midst of that, we come alive, and people are going to go, what is different about you guys as you pursue what God's put on your heart? And you're like, it's Jesus.
Right.
And they can't argue with the story. That's a big thing right now. Like, we want to hear people's stories, which is fine. Whether they struggle with something like transgenderism or something, like, we want to hear their story. And it's important because people just want to be heard.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like, they just want to hear. But in the idea of being heard, imagine if we accepted that we had the only hope in the world and that Jesus had redeemed us and our story had power. that it actually can bring change to someone's life, to go, oh my gosh, there's this hope that you have that I don't have right now. And we bump into these people while we're becoming that.
Right.
Oh, it changed the world.
So let me ask this question then. So you have a great book. I've read parts of it. I've been in this conversation for 5 years.
You've
so
lived this book.
I've lived it. And if it is representative of the conversations that you and I have had, I no doubt it's going to be a fantastic book. So I think there's two groups or two potential audiences for this book. One is the guy who is motivated to go through this book alone. And then there's the small group or the men's ministry that's going to pick up this book and go through it.
Yeah.
I would love for you to talk to the guy that's going through this book alone and what you want him, like your encouragement to him. And then if a group of guys decide, man, we need to go through this for the spring, or we need to go through this to start off our 2023 men's ministry, what would you tell that group of guys, and what encouragement would you have for them as they go through the book?
So for the one guy just reading it, I would say, hey, first thing, it's not just for you, it's also for your spouse. Like, it really was, like I wrote it to guys because, let's be honest, I don't have that many cups of coffee and long conversations with women. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, but it was written to that, but it's also, but you can just replace men with women in that, and the idea that we're made for more, that we're made to come alive. But I wanted to hit the heart of guys first because I just see this deficit. I think someone said like 80% of attendees at church are women right now. Their husbands don't even go, and if they do go, they're super disengaged.
They're just ushers.
Tuned out.
Yeah, they're tuned out.
Yeah.
So I wanted to hit those guys because imagine if we had those men come alive. But then the other thing that I thought about is, guys, if you read this book and you get inspired, we need men to step up and free other men. There is an awesome beauty in the fact that, I heard this a couple months ago, is that, hurt people hurt people. You've heard that phrase. But the other side of that is free people free people.
Yep.
And so imagine if you were a guy that grabbed this book, that read it, and then were inspired to start a group to say, I want to help these men come alive. Like, it is more than just yourself. It is more than you. And so, but it's this idea of
great plug
of you have an opportunity to heroically grab a couple of guys and go, we're going to go through this and we're going to come alive. And then you keep them accountable with those dreams. Like, what are you doing to move towards that? Because again, men are bored. And they don't know they're made for more. So many of them, they think they're made for conformity. Go in, don't do these things, be a good person, serve at your church, be a good disciple. And then even the idea of discipleship right now is like, I'm going to pass information to you.
Right.
And we're like, no, I mean, now we can get in like the Greek and the Roman concept of, up to 300 AD, it was very, and these numbers are a little bit subjective to dates and times, but about 300 years of this Hebrew mindset, which was communal. You just assume you do life together. And not until like Aristotle and Socrates and Plato was it sit down and listen to me. Sit down in a group of men, and I'm going to teach you truth. Before it was very communal. And so we've gone and done the same thing in our churches where we're like, we're going to have a discipleship class. We're going to sit down and you're going to listen in rows because guys love sitting in rows anyways.
Yes.
But I mean, the idea of like, we're going to help you come alive. And this is bringing guys aside and going, I'm going to walk with you. And then when it gets crappy, you've got someone to lean on. When there's a suck phase, when the season that is a wintertime that you're like, it's dark and lonely and there's nothing happening, I got a brother in the battle that's going, no, you're made for more. Let's go do this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, is there any plans to have a discussion guide printed to go along with this? And what's your plan on that?
Yeah, we're working through that right now. I want to get something out there that's almost like a share, that we can just say, hey, this is a quick study to
here's a PDF you can download from knownlegacy.org.
But even right now, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. But I think, right now there's even for one-on-one for you and essentially sitting, like I wish I could sit down to every single guy that listens to our podcast and go, and this is my heart. But at the end of each chapter is questions that you can ask yourself. that really it's me going, hey, let me ask this question to you. And so you've got these questions at the end of each chapter that talk about tangible things. It's not just like, what did you get out of the chapter, but like, what do you struggle to believe about? Like the first chapter is like, what about God's word do you struggle to believe? What concerns or fears do you have in accepting God's word as the final authority? And then who can you talk to about these concerns? So you're not meant to do this alone, but these are challenging questions to go, how do I dig deeper? So it's not just like, okay, chapter 1's over, let's move to chapter 2. It's like, let me struggle with these things.
Right.
You know?
So go for it, Kyle.
Right. So just let me ask you, because I know you very well. You're a people person, and what you're talking about now is you want this to be a struggle. You want them to fight through this. But
yeah.
What happens about the guy alone, sitting there reading, doing, struggling, doesn't have anybody to talk to?
Yeah.
Can they reach out by email or?
Yeah, I want them to.
I'm sure you want to commune with them.
No,
somehow.
I want to, and that's, I mean,
Good word.
So, I mean, just info@knownlegacy.org goes directly to me. Or you can go do bill@knownlegacy.org, and they get sent right to me, and I want to answer those questions. I want to have those conversations. You know, we're praying through, do we do like a Zoom Bible study? Mm-hmm. You know, do we do, I mean, I'm really praying through doing like just a weekly meetup, even here in Allen. And so, but man, if you're interested in being a part of one of these studies, I would love to hear from you. Email us, let us know, because I think it's important. And you're right, there's a lot of guys that are like, I've got nobody. And that's the thing. This is going to start with one heroic warrior in Des Moines, Iowa, who said, man, my church, I'm seeing these guys that are dying from the heart out, and I want to do something about it, but I have no one to lean on. I want you to lean on me, because I want you to lean on us, because we have an opportunity to help encourage you and say, no, it's worth the fight. But imagine, guys, if there was one guy in different churches that helped free these people. But it takes one person who's got the guts to say, I'm willing to start this group and make it happen. And so, yeah, I mean, I would encourage, pick up the book and go through the study, and we can do this together. I mean, I know this is a little bit, well, I don't even know what the word. It's very organic, but it's also like it's not normal. Like, I mean, we're working through these studies, but we will have a study guide eventually that has these questions to help you. But until then, I want to talk to you. I want to connect with you and make this something you can do in your church.
I love it, and I know you in your heart, and with all of your newfound free time. No, I have no doubt after our conversation that we had a few weeks ago with Kelly.
Yeah.
And just what he does with his Zoom meetings. I know that if there's 2 or 3 guys out there, you would set that up in a heartbeat. And make that happen. And gentlemen, I would encourage you, don't wait for your pastor to take point on this. Your pastor has a lot of things that he's dealing with, and he's trying to navigate. And so, man, he is desperate. Being a pastor, he's desperate for guys that will take the reins and run with it and make this kind of stuff happen. So I'd encourage you to do that. So final question as we kind of wrap up. You said that this was a culmination of years of dreams and goals. What's on the horizon for you, and what's on the horizon for Known Legacy, and what's your new goals?
I think right now, I mean, there's a number goal that I have that just is trite, you know what I'm saying, of like, you know, trying to get through it. Some of it's recouping the cost that it costs to make this happen. So we're kind of digging out from there, which is totally fine. But I think the bigger thing is, in all reality, is getting in front of guys, in front of men's groups in your church, to share this hope with these guys. Because sometimes just seeing it face to face and hearing the heart person to person is more important. So, man, if you have a men's event, we want to be a part of that, to share this. I would love to go through this as a weekend. One of the goals is to do a More Than You weekend.
Right.
And then also to just get in front of guys. You know, we're still doing those date nights. I mean, those are important. This is the very tip of the iceberg, is those date nights to crack the shell of the hearts of men, to then do a men's retreat after that at some point to say, let's get together and have these conversations. But so we'd love to be out for a date night. We'd love to be out for a men's retreat or, you know, a men's event, and begin to share this inside these churches. Because truly, if men come alive and their spouses come alive and their kids come alive, then the church comes alive and the world has changed. It does not have to be the way that it is. Do I believe Jesus come back? Absolutely. Can he come back to millions of followers who are devoted to him? Absolutely. And so that's what we would rather be, is to see this third great awakening, without sounding too dogmatic about it, but this third great awakening to be, birthed in the heart of men that are like, no, I am made for more. I mean, let's be honest. Depression, suicide, issues have just grown up in the last couple of years. People are more alone than they've ever been, and they need something like this to engage the hearts of the guys around them, because it's not just come back and do this program with me, but come alive to what God's called us to.
I love it, man. I am really proud of you for seeing this through the finish line. I know this is your second or third take on this, and have been a part of many of those. And so I'm really proud of you, dude. You've done a great job. The book looks great. I think it's going to make a big impact in the hearts and lives of many people.
Yeah, props to my wife. She's the one who created the cover. When I married out of my league.
Absolutely.
And I was like, I need you to design this. And so,
yeah.
But no, really quick, I want to just say thanks to you guys. You two have been a huge blessing. And so actually, Kyle, I have a book for you.
Oh, thank you, man.
Signed by the author. These are not valuable. They're about 11 cents. No, I was kidding. And then Travis, for you as well.
Aww.
And I don't know if you guys looked at the acknowledgments, but you guys are a huge blessing. And so,
well, in other news, I have a used book that is now available for sale. info.knownlegacy.org.
First edition.
More than happy to send that out. First edition. And you can absolutely, because now I have a signed one by the author.
But no, I think it's important, guys. Please, do us a favor, pick it up. morethanyobook.com.
Love it.
And then, or you can go on Amazon right there, and we can have the link available. But the biggest thing is, guys, just get into it. You are made for more. If you're struggling with self-worth, if you're struggling with, do I even believe any of this whole God thing, this book is for you. So please pick it up today.
And here's the deal. We understand that money is tight, and $14, it is $14, and sometimes that's hard to come by. If you find yourself and you can't, trust us. Just let us know. info@knownlegacy.org. We can get you. There's guys that are willing to sponsor some free books out there. We will get this book into your hands so that you can read it and your life can be transformed forever. And then we just ask, man, find a way to pay that forward at some way, somehow, with someone,
absolutely.
somewhere.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's not a money-making thing. We just want to get it out there. I mean, that's always the residual in the back, but really, we just want this to get into the hearts of you guys and come alive to what God's called you to.
Fantastic. Hey, thank you, Bill, so much. Kyle, thank you very much. Anything
Absolutely.
from you? Do you have any fast five for Mr. Bill today?
I do not.
I don't either. So
Dodge that bullet.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for checking us out. As always, you can find the book on Amazon. You can find the book on knownlegacy.org. As always, like us, subscribe if you want to, leave a review. If you have a question for us, leave it in the comments below, whether it's on YouTube or Facebook or even Instagram, and we will get to those questions at our hot take. We're not going to record a hot take this time. The next one's going to be, I think, a video from the Camp Lone Star, which is the men's retreat that we're doing. So that's kind of fun and exciting, and so we'll see what happens. So thank you guys for checking us out. Thanks for listening. Bill, thank you for the discipline to get the book written, and I'm excited to see how God uses it to transform the hearts of men.
Amen.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.
God bless you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Known Legacy Podcast. We'd love to hear from you, so email us your questions or comments to info@knownlegacy.org.